Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer 1745 here with my continuing deep invasion into the Soviet Union, doing so much better than I thought it was going to be with this campaign. I'm quite pleasantly surprised. Actually, you guys come up this way. So you lots of events, and it looks like we have our monthly outbreak of partisans. Okay, German intelligence reports on the second Moscow conference, Western allies met with Stalin again. Reportedly, he demanded a commitment of the second front as soon as possible to relieve the Red Army. Well, okay. Relieve it from what? Don't know. Okay, further U.S. tank deliveries for the British Army deck signals intelligence. Okay, amongst equipment, new models of tank who might be like offensive operations here. Okay. Well, hopefully that. Oh, see, revolverheld. Oh, yeah, we're gonna win this, but the students here. But we really need to have a better check for who's controlling that province. Okay. Kiwis. Pilswiggy. These are basically more Soviet. There were, as we've seen already, various Russian units serving as part of the German army. Eventually there's sort of a semi-official Russian army that's set up. I say that it's under Zaisov or whatever. And I don't know how many divisions it actually has. It's more set up to be brigade, regimental. The Germans just didn't want to have like a large enough section of the front to be a Russian division. Where, hey, having, 2 or 3 battalions together fighting as a coherent unit, fine, in and amongst other German units. But there was also this very much idea that was going on, a ratio and parity between German and Huey's manpower, in that it was about equal. And a lot of it started out as, various volunteers, whether they were, full units, platoons, divisions, whatever, somewhere in that full units that are, immediately waving the white flag as soon as they find some Germans to sort of surrender to and want to volunteer, to captured units that have surrendered, and a percentage of just troops want to go, hey, I want to, join with you guys. And a lot of them are manpower, in the sense of doing useful and important tasks, but not necessarily combat power. But as time goes on and they become more and more trusted, they get more and more combat duties within the units and are fighting, so that this is just a manpower boost that's appropriate. El Duce sends help. After all the trouble around Neuville, El Duce sends Captain Bertorelli and his contingent of battle-hardened Bergsalgeri. As you can see, there's Bertorelli, him leading these troops that are a rather ragtag bunch of Italian types up to Neuville. The beautiful lady, that's his sort of tagline, so you can decide no thanks too much. things to eat too much, or you can lose some supplies and get this unit. Now, this is one of the reasons I wanted to play this again, or have this in here. Yes, it looks like it works, because see this, I with permission borrowed the counterpiece from, again with permission before I did it, from the a Fox and Lion mod, Tommy Lato's thing, including the unit counter. I didn't make any of that, I just renamed it, made it this special little unit here. We'll add that to the Nouvion garrison, and it's supposed to have Bertarelli, not Patterson E here, as commander. I wonder if they share a... Oh, it says, okay, it's Italian, that's why I gotta click over here on the image, I think. Okay, there we go. I'm not seeing him here. I thought I made him out as a general, because this is one of the guys I added to it, and I'm thinking maybe I've because I'm seeing that there, Italian War Pro. I may have used, so I got to fix that. May have used the same number, because he's supposed to be a flyer. You know, so no leader here, because I want to use him as a one of the guys leading these units here. Go down to, yeah, see here he is. Okay, so this is because he has, these are Bertarelli's Italian General, Italian War Cross. Okay, so that what I've done here is this earlier mod, and I've reused the number twice. Okay, now that's sort of why I wanted to play this again here. One, I sort of like it. Two, it's telling me the things. I thought that was really cool. Tommy Lato did a good job with those, and it fits well enough in with the rest of these guys here. That's an earlier version for the garrison. Different sort of reconnaissance type. I don't know. I'm just. Please do sort of remember that this was literally my first mod that I made, and you can see here I even have special. This won't upgrade with the regular stuff. That's why it will sort of suck and whatnot. Current models, it's just the one model, but it has even its own unit photo there. So like Uber's little tanks, got that. So yeah, I'm just really proud of it because it was my first one. And yes, some of the bugs I've corrected. Some of the bugs are now just conflict bugs, which I hadn't been doing. So we'll try to fix that conflict bug. Okay. Elida round. That's perfume body soap. This is an advertisement from the war period in Germany, founded in like 1925. You sort of wanted to show off some of the period stuff, and yes, lose supplies, or in total warfare, lose some popularity. So you can spend some supplies, minor, obviously, but helping out the domestic market during the war. Start production. No longer have a strategic. Okay, guess our embassy in Madrid has informed us. Air Minister Vergon informed our agents that the Allied landings will occur in Tunisia or Algeria, most likely during October. Okay. That's that part of the. I'm gonna have to check it. Part of the. Well, I don't know. If we control all this, they shouldn't be able to get through here. Still got that garrison there. Conf Group A Naring, yes, we want that. Technical oil brigade starts its works in Grozny. So even though we are trapped and cut off, okay, we are trapped and cut off. Air supply. You're air supplying you. Okay, can't shatter, so we'll wait till those guys get there. Let's pick up what food. Do these guys have an organization? Yes, they do. So we will wait until lose their supply ability. Okay, forming those units off the front. Oh, reorganize this. I don't think I want to do that either. Okay, where's the 6th, 7th, and 8th Panzer Division? That's sort of telling me that they're not actively involved in combat. Those decisions are cued to sort of, I mean, they may just be advancing, but to look for, yeah, see, they're just moving forward, so, okay. As long as you're actually advancing, come up and be that option once they're not in combat. And I like that the best, in that it's not going to pull somebody who's immediately in combat, though of course we are taking the option that we would rather have not so good units now than better units later. And Finland. You give them money for that material. Okay. Partisans. I think they're going to just, yeah. You smash into this big stack of flash through them. You're pursuing through to there. Well, Is the capital officially over here now? No. Still in Moscow, I think so. This may be really messing with their supplies. I'm not sure. Oh, stop. Totally exhausted. We got other things coming up here. Well, let's cut them off. Oh, don't be shattered. Okay. Those are those. That's over there. Yeah. You attack. Why there? These things are in much better shape, so let's take this swamp province. Well, shift. Nice. Well, no, actually, you guys supply up to here, and I think there's an airbase here. There's okay, yeah, no, you shift yours. Okay, amphibious unit training advanced. Yeah, right here. Continue. 4-engine bomb bays have advanced. Okay. Don't have many of that. Well, I guess it does help the naval and other. Attack, okay. We'll do that. MKB-42 field trials. Now, this isn't the Stimmgewehr 44 or MP 44 or those things. And I had in my previous series someone post about some of that. This is an earlier models of things that lead to that. Okay, the first small batch of both the Hennel and Walther weapons, designated MKB-42H for the Hennel and MKB-42W for the Walther, respectively, were sent to the Eastern Front for trials against the Soviet troops. Initial results were promising, with the Hennel rifles being generally preferred due to their better reliability. The Walther design, which showed better single-shot accuracy, was rejected as unsuitable on the grounds of its questionable angular gas piston system. After extensive combat tests, the MKB-42H, the Waffenamt, asked Hennel for several significant improvements over their initial designs. I sort of rammed some of this together to try to keep it from getting too big of a thing, but they got bigger. The original sort of panel wasn't as big, so I was chopping some extra spaces out of that. Most notable was the request to replace submachine gun-like open bolt firing system with a more convenient closed bolt system to improve single shot accuracy. Yeah, see, that's the sort of the idea is an MP38 40 whatever, basically the same gun, just different manufacturing techniques. And like the Sten gun and many other submachine guns, is that the bolt is all the way back, and when you pull the trigger, it has a fixed firing pin on the bolt, so it strips it off and strips off you moves forward, strips off the cartridge, puts it into the chamber, and that whole thing is that bolt with a spring behind it. It's a lot of momentum going in it, and it sort of hits and pushes the gun forward and, generally speaking, down a little bit, disrupting your accuracy. So now it doesn't disrupt it much, and it does though depend on how much that both the weight, the mass of the bolt, and the amount of spring pressure on it. And the spring pressure is probably going to be heavier for a even though that's the smaller cartridge that we're looking at. That's the standard Mauser rifle cartridge of the period, just showing you the size difference, because these are going to be greater pressure, probably more pressure to strip it off the cartridge, so it's going to hit harder than some of the 9mm bolt springs will hit. But that sort of hits and disrupts your accuracy and normally pushes it down. Now when you're really close, it doesn't matter that much, and it also actually sort of helps a little bit, because you're now dealing with submachine guns, generally a burst shot. It depends on the submachine gun. Some do have a single shot option. Some just have a safe and a full auto option. If you're just doing single shot, it's sort of disrupting it. But with that sort of downward push, it's actually sort of keeps, if you're just doing it like a 3-4 shot burst, it keeps like the second and third rounds a bit more on target. The first round may be slightly lower than you intended, but it's sort of, if you sort of aim at the center of the guy, so it sort of ducks you down a little bit, and then as you walk back up, you don't see my hands moving here, of course, walks back up sort of the person or the group of people or whatever that you're shooting at in that short burst, so it keeps that short burst. So it works pretty well, and it's not normally a thing to be that concerned about in shooting submachine guns, and even if you're shooting them semi-automatically, the 9mm, it's like I say, it's not that big of a thing. But when you're shooting this type of gun, and the top one I believe is the gas system, the bottom one is the barrel. When you're doing that with this, it's messing up your single shot accuracy, because you're now, instead of just shooting, say, at 50 yards at somebody, you're now shooting at 300 yards often. And so that really does make a big difference. And one of the major reasons for the open bolt system is heat. if you fire a bunch of ammo through a gun, the gun, the barrel, and particularly the chamber, that's often depends on the design, but often part of the barrel that is comes back over in the the whole cartridge feeds into. That gets hot, and that can get so hot that rounds will cook off. Will just fire on their own, and depending on the system, it could even be fully automatic fire. Just sort of depends on the system, but normally it would just be a single round cooking off. And so whatever you're pointing at, a bullet just goes off, which can be a problem. If you've got a submachine gun and you try not to go point it at any of your friends, but at times it can still be a problem. And normally it's going to happen, within a minute or so of getting hot. So that's why, particularly, you'll find with machine guns, the full caliber machine gun type thing, open bolt systems, so that you don't load the cartridge in until you're ready to shoot it. And by having the bolt open, it means there's more airflow, so it also cools it off better. Even if it's a water jacketed situation, it's still cooling off the rear part of the chamber much better with an open bolt system. But open bolts generally are illegal in the US because even if you make it as a semi-automatic weapon, it's just like super easy to convert it to full auto. Real super easy. So the question is, what is this thing here? Seriously, what is this thing? Is it Machine Pistole 44? So, is it sort of a submachine gun that you're running around shooting full automatic fire on? Then you might want an open bolt system. Is it a Sturmgewehr 44? Meaning, is it a rifle that's for storming? And once in a while you shoot it fully automatic. Most of the time, because remember, they do have, and we've seen it, the semi-automatic rifle development within the German army. And that's again with the full power cartridge. But a lot of soldiers, and that's also a fairly well machined weapon, where this is a lot of stampings on it, so it's cheaper and easier to make. So you're trying to replace bolt action rifles. Well, this is an attempt to give you, do you want it to be a submachine gun? Do you want it to be a semi-auto rifle? Part of that comes down to how many of these things can you physically carry? Because Germany wasn't America. Germany didn't have this soldier out there and then a 2.5-ton truck behind him, just him, carrying ammo for him. That isn't literally how America, there wasn't one guy with a rifle with another guy with a truck feeding him, ammunition. But it's sort of that sort of idea that the Americans had that flow of ammunition. So, there's a bush over there. Somebody could be behind it. Let's shoot that bush. There's another bush. How many bushes out there? We're going to shoot each bush just because there might be somebody in the bush. The Germans didn't have that ability to go around the world and shoot in every bush on it, because even if they're producing enough ammunition back in Germany to do that, now I'm also sort of meaning artillery shells and other bigger things, it's getting them not just on the rail system, but it's getting off the rail system onto wagons often and hauling that ammo to where it needs to go. So these guys often had just, I don't know, I think from the mag pouches, I don't know whether they had 3 or 4, because often you see them pictured with just a set of 3 mag pouches. And so did they have a 4th mag plus 3 in the pouches, and then the 4th one in there, and then they carried extra ammo loose. So you don't necessarily want to burn through, because you may have more ammo, but you don't necessarily have more mags. You don't necessarily want to burn through your ammo a lot unless you're actually storming the enemy's position and you're trying to mow them down. So it's mostly going to be operated in semi-automatic, in my opinion. I have not, I don't have any real good information for you. Obviously, I wasn't there. Almost because, unfortunately, most of the World War II generation is passing away. And since these were mostly on the Eastern Front, most of the Eastern Front soldiers have passed away. So probably none of us were there and using these things. And it's different, you know, again, you watch Vietnam, or you're a modern day soldier fighting in Afghanistan or Iraq. Again, you have that heavy supply line, so your operations are not the same. Even if you're using a, you know, an assault rifle, an AK-47 in Afghanistan, because I know a lot of you know, various Western powers have liked, you know, troops have periodically picked up and used, not just like, ooh, I'm out of ammunition, pick up the enemy. They sort of like the AK and use it. So even though you may be using a very tactically similar weapon, you're in a different situation, or than the Germans were. You know how, you know, most everybody, you know, all the Carabiner 98Ks, all of the MG34s and MG42s, and even the Car 43s, the semi-auto, are all using these other cartridges. So you may not have often good supplies of the short cartridge, you know, if you burn through them too fast. Not saying you don't get a truckload full of them for you and your buddies who carry these things, but you might burn through them. So I believe that they were using them primarily as a semi-auto, and then periodically, I want you pull the city down. So they're saying, get this to be a better semi-auto. Schmeitzer designed the weapon accordingly and submitted improved versions to the Heereswaffenamt. So that's just sort of the story of that. So we can improve assault rifles and spend some support or not. Okay, let's look here. We are currently researching assault rifles. So assault rifles right here. So we are okay, just in line with that down arrow thing. So let's go support development. Again, I want, because Germany did it historically, you could argue, and I would argue quite, I mean, didn't quite get the 30 round magazine until Korea, because if you see, guys, they didn't use the 30 round in World War II of the M1 carbine. The M1, because all the paratrooper model versions were using 15 round mags. But that's really it doesn't have the neck down cartridge, but I'd really argue the M1 carbine is an assault rifle. 15 rounds. You're not, until I think maybe they were just in sort of 45 getting the M2, the select fire version of it. That sort of pushes the 30 round magazine plus experience, you know, getting their hands on a few of these things. But you're not really seeing them in troops' hands, the 30 round, until Korea. So, you know, the U.S. did sort of have an assault rifle, I would say, but nobody else really did. And so in this game, I totally get the idea that, hey, yeah, I'm the Soviets, I want to develop an assault rifle. The AK-47 is obviously being developed sort of in 45. I believe that's when he was developing it. Mikhail, messing the name up. But so you have a chance to push it a little bit ahead. Okay, oh, and now we've done that. Assault rifles. So we went from here to here, so 2 of those squares. So we'll be getting assault rifles earlier and quicker. Now we'll get a cooldown. Here's Group A passes. Here's Group A South crosses the Don. Yes, they're gaining descent. North, Georgia, whatever. Ukraine, police, yes. Deutsches Arabisch Legion SV, yes, we want that. That should be down. I'm sending these guys here to come and pick up these. Oh, where is that? Oh, Arabisch. Well, let's look and see if we can find it. There it is, there. Ah, okay. So what this is a motorized infantry battalion unit. Okay, don't know what we're going to do with it. Good, they will help us with partisan production. Okay, we already have the Hungarians out in this area. So let's put some unshaft right there. I mean, okay, well, we sort of have other events that some degree cover that. Well, not quite as generous on the manpower in a way. There we go. Okay, no leader. And we will attach it to there. Well, and down here. It really helps supplies get through, or the more partisan activity in a province, the more it disrupts supply coming through. So you not only do you want to keep, you may go, oh well, there's no partisan outbreaking. Well, yeah, you're right, but you want to keep that down as much. I would say it's about as important as, or maybe even more important, I don't know, as keeping or as building greater infrastructure to reduce partisan activity. So maybe like this province, I don't know, may not have supplies flowing through it, but this does matter. You sort of got a gap there. And one up here, that's sort of what some of these guys are here. And we can drop a train down there. You can move actually closer to the action. Supplies flow. Oh, lots of reinforcements needed, okay. Good, let's see what's going on. That went good. Nice big box here. Guard unit. Bunch of well, I guess we'll start you back. There's maybe attacking here. Those are attacking. Also, You're just moving along and not doing much combat, so maybe over there. Okay, you take that province and then down. Okay, we've lost the battle down here. Oh wow, okay. That ain't good. Oh, you take that. And the Canadians are going to be able to counterattack. Oh well. At least they just lost organization and not completely shattered. That. Port elements. I need a bunch. We've got artillery. We've got a headquarters that could use some reconnaissance. Guess that's all I have immediately available. Let's start moving east. You should have been a long ways east. Why are you still back there? Oh, okay, more stuff. Well, oh. Yeah, lots of tank spam. I don't know. We can keep a pocket supply that ain't Stalingrad. We've prepared, unlike them. Lots of those big things. Panzer Shrek. The arrival of the Soviets' T-34s in great numbers created increased strain on the Wehrmacht. One solution was to deploy more 88mm anti-aircraft to the front. These guns have powerful armor-piercing capabilities when used against tanks. If needed, 10 motorized flak regiments will become available in Berlin, which can be rushed forward to the front. Okay. Okay. Manpower supplies, that's fine. We got that covered now. 1% of IC. 5% of supplies and 5% of money until October 42. Okay. That's just sort of barely, well, 10 of these guys, yeah. But it's barely worth it. Actually, not in the production queue, cool. Yeah, it's here in Berlin, but I've sort of become a bit, yeah, okay. We've got a bunch of these things. Not sure what we'll do with them. Rushing them east may be the thing. I don't know. I just don't know if they'll catch up anywhere. Because, see, you know, if we were holding back here, we weren't doing so well. We could get them to the front pretty easy. But, you know. Okay, the Wehrmacht's continuing need for fuel and our limited supply of natural oil has made the need to expand our production of synthetic gasoline. Should we expand the Braunbag Dresden at this time? So we can expand the plant, cost us some manpower, energy, supplies, metal, producing it. We get a oil refinery, or crude oil, and energy as well. Yeah, we'll do that. That will help out. We obviously do no need. Our agents in Vichy inform us in North Africa. Okay. General Julian. Jack rumors concerning that. Here's Group 8 Dawn. The Dawn. Good. As you can see, all of those things are. Oh, you want to go diplomacy. Soviets helping. Oh, I thought they were further down. I thought they were down in the 40s. Maybe they've regained some stuff. I don't know. Yeah, okay. Reserve Corps. Operation Hurling. Most dramatically, the Greek resistance announced its presence to the world with one of the war's most spectacular sabotage acts, the blowing up of the Gorgopotamos railway bridge linking northern and southern Greece. That deal, yes. Okay, I'm guessing partially from this, the image there has that thing in it. I think this is a GGA event. I wouldn't have happened, especially with all this. Yes, I'm fine with the idea of partisans breaking out in Greece. But, oh, we're actually in capital. But, where is here? Okay, that's why we're going to have reaction. But there is no SOE anywhere in the region to support them. These guys are. Who's going to take these guys? Looks like. Still another one of those things needs better check. So I'm all good with this, so long as this is a plausible. And right now I would say no, it's not. Okay, you push up this way. We can up here. We'll march out of those swamps. Okay, for what side? You push this one. Push them. It gets to attack that way with this. Say, okay, we've on here, so let's take this on. You attack there, and you join the attack. I guess you guys, Yeah, we lost that province. We're in a bit of a muddle here, but I think they're going to try to withdraw a lot of this armor. Hoping I can still hold down here. And I think I could push my way south if I wanted to, but pulling. Okay, air power out of attack here. Here, taking artisan. You come up this way, you... Okay. That way, so... This way. You join this attack. Oh, okay, I'll set it out, sure. Okay, now let's go backwards. Slower, so you attack that way and do things. Okay, good, we're pushing there, pushing there. Army African recruitment has advanced. And we'll attack. Ulfschutz 2 for your headquarters was the code name used for the Western Front. Build it. Okay, manpower till October, 5% ICs. Organization regain rate. October 5th, 5%. A lot of anti-aircraft guns, I know, and fortress levels. This is one of those things that I really wish you would redo, and I may poke this on to, oh my god, again. I like the headquarters. I like that they exist. I think they should. I think they should be somewhat costly, but I would reduce the, because basically the, enemy air stops attacking if you have like 3 or higher. And even if when we were playing the British series invading, I was running into some of these invading Germany, and they really became a real big problem, fortifications and anti-aircraft. But I think that's a bit overdoing it as realistic. You know, and I understand that if Germany's losing, it could be useful. But I'd go down to 1% ICs with, say, Fortress level 2 and maybe 3, and anti-aircraft gun level 3. And so, because you also get a brigade here. Oh, we can attach that a bunch more. Okay, who do we want to give this? Klink is running the Führer's security in the east. Who do we want to give it here in the west? This guy, so we won't have to look at him again. Do we have quickly find the those are probably way too far east. I don't know if I use the time. Okay, U-boat pens in Saint-Nazaire is constructed before the Second World War. Was one of the largest harbors on the Atlantic coast of France during the Battle of France. Okay, so it was about time. Energy supplies, ooh, big bunches of both of those. Engineering shipyards. We'll take it. I want the shipyards that'll help with construction. Naval base. This is here. So this was one of the largest shipyards. It probably should be larger. Okay. Enemy air intelligence, we're doing defensive. Greek resistance is rising. Well, whether we want to say the Greek resistance is rising or not, stay there. That very well might be, but I would definitely have those other airborne. God, I guess. The event-driven ones, more SOE stuff. Okay, we've lost this province. Oh, okay, well. Since we crossed the river, let's support there. Oh, support the attack. That should be fine. Okay. You attack here now. Yes, do your next one now. Fine. Okay, Stugs. And the 1st Panzer Division. Not quite the most eastward one at the moment. Let's look and see. Is there any... Okay, we've got this objective. Getting these... Okay, 1 IC, which we won't even get a full IC. And, well, let's see. Yeah, we won't even get much pull out of it, but it denies it to the Soviets. This also denies 2 ICs to the Soviets. So, denying them is good stuff. Until we're getting way back, there is, and are there any? Let's just look at terrain options. There we go. And that, so these guys can come here, going around the northern flank of all that. Check their light armor. Oh, well. You attack there again. You move up there. Let's... Oh, yeah, I gave you that guy. Well, let's go. Let's see what we could do to make him more interesting. Well, let's give him a head. No, we don't need a headquarters because he already has combined arms, so never mind. The headquarters. Yeah, we can drop him out there. Well, he's fast. Let's go to this. Okay, you guys come this way. Pushing. Here. Expensive. Okay, we have that. Wise costs. But air build speed has improved a lot. East, east, everybody east. Too poorly. And this headquarters, Red Navy garrison is really fighting hard. These guys, forward, 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 forward. Oh, hold on, pause. Fine. Probably stop here, yeah. That was the HQ even. Yeah, either I should have reinforced those, which of course means less other things built, or these guys I'm thinking I'm moving to the west. Or North Africa. Let's send all of these towards possible, because we've been getting all those warnings and I don't know if they're going to happen or not. So let's, for North African invasions, those guys could be fighting in North Africa quite well. Now we've finally got these here, so let's go R, give them a motorized unit, and you come down to give them a motorized unit. Now we have Niederlander, Free Will and Legion Niederlander here with some artillery, anti-tank guns, SS reconnaissance headquarters. Gonna have trucks for that there soon. There we go here. Former Lish Division transport on you, and so now we have Flandern Legion here. So we've got these guys here to deal with any invasions in the west. I'm not Italians. Okay, so they're coming this way, they're coming that way. They're holding that. These guys, yes, join into this attack. Everybody there. Going. The thing you're doing is sort of trying to like surround it instead of driving straight towards it. Stalingrad is it. Didn't know. Hopefully you did. Units, okay, you're out there. Good. Pocket. Guys get to move forward. Okay. So we're going to stop the attack. Well, we're going to end the episode here. I want to thank you all for liking, just showing up, liking the videos, posting questions, comments, suggestions, ideas. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. See you next time for more Hearts of Iron.